Recording and welcome everybody to the A Team call. And as you know, this is the A Team or Action Team. And we have a great call for you tonight. It's like Power Woman Night. So if you're looking to be inspired by a couple of powerful women, then now here is the right place. And obviously, I'm not one of them. So I'm your host, Rick Redford. And as many of you know, this is such a great call. I love this call. We have guests from our company, guests from outside the company, many people who can teach us all about the skills, the tips to success, helping to overcome fears, overcoming rejections. And one of the great blessings that I have every day is to wake up and to be able to work with many of you and to get to know many of you. And to start our call off tonight, we have a guest that we have had on before, but she is now one of our newest senior VPs and has a great transformation story. It's kind of, I've seen some of her posts and it's subtle and it's not the largest amount of weight loss, but it's pretty dramatic, I think. So anyway, please welcome Krystal Harrison. Krystal, are you with us?
Yes, I am here.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Cool.
Yes, my transformation, my story. Just want me to share a little bit about how I started and where I am now?
Perfect.
Okay, so I was really looking for something back in the spring, a change. I have always been a positive person, and I know I've shared this story before, but I'm going to kind of go over it again. And so I had found myself like with all this COVID, all the changes, just having a lot of anxiety, and I did not like it at all. I just didn't recognize who I was. And so I had just reached this breaking point, and I laid down that night and just said a prayer and said, you know what, I need change. I want change. And I'm not just asking for change. I'm going to go find change. I want to seek and play an active part in that too. So I had a couple weeks after that seen a post from Whitney Johns, and she was excited about this new company that she had joined and these awesome products. So I've only met her once now. And so I sent her a message and I was like, tell me what you're doing. And so she reached out and said, I hopped on a Zoom that night and I listened to Dr. Ginger, and I immediately messaged her and said, I want to order these products. And so I got my products in and I started, and that was at the end of June. And so I have lost to date 45 pounds. And even I started weight training recently, so I've kind of stalled on the weight loss, but the inches are just falling off. And so that's still super exciting. So that's a little bit of how I got started and where I am currently in my transformation.
Cool. Well, you're a younger person. I mean, it's all relative, right? I mean,
I feel much younger than I did, at the beginning of the year.
You're a competitive athlete too. I mean, you've been an athlete, and
Yes.
those of us who've been athletes, as you get older, weight comes on for different reasons, and I was impressed with first of all, anybody who's willing to take a behind picture before and after. I'm always like, wow, that's brave anyway. But this is the first time you've really been involved in this type of business, isn't it?
Yes, like I said, I just jumped head first in. And as far as the business side, I really just started sharing my excitement for the changes that I was seeing in myself. And people just started asking me, oh my gosh, you look so great. What are you doing? And so really I've built my whole business just being genuine and sharing my genuine excitement with other people. And so I think one of the best ways to be successful is just be a true product of the product, and really commit to, like I said, I was looking for a change, and really commit to making that change. And so I think people recognize and appreciate that, and want to jump on board with you whenever they feel like they have somebody who's willing to walk the walk and not just talk the talk.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. As you are sharing with people, are you finding, because this is the first time you've had an experience with network marketing, so it's kind of all, the whole concept is new for you. Are you finding that you're having people in your organization you haven't even met yet, and you're like, whoa, look at that? I mean,
Yeah.
so what's that like for you?
There are a lot of people, but I, you know, have it. I mean, I guess it's not really anything new. I can talk to strangers in Walmart, so it's it's nothing abnormal or uncomfortable to me. But yeah, it's been interesting to be able to meet new people through a different venue other than the elementary school that I work at. I usually get to just talk to pre-K kids and first and second graders, so it's been fun.
Not a lot of prospects in the first and second grade yet.
Um,
No. So you live in a big city or a small town?
I live in a very small town in Texas. I was born and raised here. I'm a seventh generation Brock Eagle. I live in Brock, Texas, and we have a lot of school pride here. And so, yes, small town Texas.
And the reason why I ask that question is that a lot of people, they're like, oh, people in the big city have such an advantage because they have so many more people that they know and they come across. And I love that. And I actually knew the answer to the question. That's why I asked you. So, but I love that people in a small town, and you have every bit the same opportunity as anyone else does.
Yes. And I mean, social media, the reach that that you have through social media is unreal. And so I definitely agree. Yeah, I think we only had like 1,300 people in the town, maybe. And so I've done everything through social media. I mean, yes, I did travel and play basketball a whole lot. So I do have connections outside, but everybody does. Just finding a way to utilize social media to your advantage can really grow your business.
Amen. Well, Krystal, congratulations. New Senior Vice President. Congratulations. That's
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be recognizing you probably on next week's call. So thanks for starting the call off with such energy and with a great story. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Of course, you're welcome. All right, thank you. So tonight also we have a special guest. And as I've said before, one of the great opportunities that I have is working together with leaders from all over the world. And one of the blessings is as we merge with other companies, as we partner with other companies, we get a whole new batch of leaders that come on board. One of the first couple, and they're not couple in terms of married couples, but they're business partners, is Art and Valencia from Tahisha Noni, or Noni by New Age. And they came into the Salt Lake office or into the Utah office, and I just was so impressed with both of them. And Valencia and I kind of had this initial chemistry between us as we started talking, and we recognized that we had very similar viewpoints and ideas. And I love the conversation that we had together. So I also saw her train on what was called the Global Business Summit. That was an event that was put on by Noni by New Age. So I am excited to have with us tonight Valencia Pamphile from the Northeast. And Valencia, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
I can, and I can see you, part of the MAD team. Way to self-promote. I love that.
Absolutely.
So first off, just tell us a little bit about you. And I've heard, because you told me the story, but nobody else on this call has. So tell us a little bit about you and your journey and how you got to this point.
All right, outstanding. First of all, I want to say hello to everybody. Krystal, I loved your story. And I kind of feel when I was looking, I scrolled through, I kind of feel like, I'm sure we've all seen these stories of the long lost cousin or sister or brother. That's kind of how I feel, because we're a new family, yet and still nobody has met me. So I'm looking forward to getting a chance to meeting each and every one of you guys. Mergers are never I don't want to say they're hard, but they're different. There's a newness and an uneasiness. But when I met Rick, I got this feeling of just being, as I said, family. Like, you know, we're in the same home. So I'm excited about that. But I'll tell you guys a little bit about how I ended up in this industry of network marketing. First and foremost, I am from New York City, born and raised in Brooklyn. Don't hold that against me. So I'm a city girl. And my career background, well, my mom was an educator, my dad was an entrepreneur, but they were very strict parents who said, listen, when you get out of school, you don't have this year to find yourself or any of that. You have to get a job. So I was fortunate enough. I became an intern for JP Morgan, and I had a very successful career at JP Morgan. I worked there for 15 years. I was the first Black female on the executive floor. So I was, you know, quasi-successful, as you want to call it. And then I got caught in this corporate shuffle. And when I tell the story, it's not to, you know, get people to feel all the sympathy, although I really felt sorry for myself. JP Morgan, I used to work on Wall Street. They came to me and they said, Valencia, we have the opportunity and we're moving operations from Wall Street to Delaware. And how would you like to participate in the relocation? And my husband and I both worked on the same, you know, at the same bank, which was, you know, I can't say it was a bad thing. That's how I met him, was at the bank. But I was excited. So my husband and I, we went down to Delaware. We contracted to have a house built. And keep in mind, I was excited just to live somewhere where grass grew. Now, I know those of you in Texas and all those places, you don't get excited, but the idea of getting a lawnmower thoroughly excited me, because in Brooklyn, all the houses are attached. You know, I lived in the cement jungle. That really is the truth. Great place to visit. I have nothing against New York, but I'm glad to be out of it. So we contracted, we had our house built. 1 month after we moved into our house, JP Morgan sold the division of the bank that I worked for back to a company in New York City. So now I was 3 hours away from New York City, but now my job was 3 hours back in New York City. Now, keep in mind, when the banking industry consolidates, you're just a pawn on the chessboard. They don't really care. So keep in mind, I'm making New York City money, but I'm living in Delaware. So I was living a pretty decent life. Well, after they did that, my husband and I looked at each other and said, well, we're going to have to commute, because we couldn't afford to take on a Delaware salary with the house we had just had built. So both of us, we commuted 3 hours to work and 3 hours back home every single day. And let me tell everybody, if you've never driven a Toyota Camry, I highly recommend it, because our Camry never put us down. I think we ended up with 286,000 miles on our Toyota Camry. Now, the irony of the story is, after we commuted for a year, and I shouldn't take on any real credit for this, because I literally put a pillow in the back seat. I slept all the way to work. I did my hair in the car. My husband did all the driving. And he came home and said, I can't do this anymore. And he quit. I couldn't believe it, but he quit. And he went and found a job in Delaware. And then, because again, I'm of this mindset of I have to have this New York salary, I continued to commute via Amtrak. The Amtrak ticket to and from New York for a month was $1,000. So that gives you an idea that the income disparity between Delaware and New York, it was significant, probably 50% difference. So I continued to commute 6 hours a day. I was an executive, so I worked anywhere from 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day. And I literally did not have a life. And there's very few people who can have a story like that, but I also didn't see a way out. And I'm fortunate that my family, 2 of my uncles were in the network marketing industry. And one of them, even though he was always in the industry, he was always borrowing money from me. So I didn't necessarily feel like I would ever follow him. But he got involved in it. And by the way, the money that it took him to start his business, the $500, he borrowed it from me. And he became a documented multimillionaire. That is the only reason. Not only was he documented in the company, he was in Success Magazine. That's the only reason I listened to him. I actually felt like his million should have been mine. But I went back and he said, Valencia, I'll tell you guys the actual phone call I got. And if I'm talking too long, Rick, let me know.
Great.
A phone call from my uncle said to me, he says, it was around 11 p.m. Keep in mind, I'm commuting. And he says, Valencia, I need you to wake up. I'm like, okay, I'm awake. What's up? No. I need you to get it. I need you to put your feet on the floor. Now he's getting on my nerves. And I said, okay, all right, what's up? He says, I need you to run in the bathroom and throw water on your face. So I said, okay. He goes, I didn't hear the water. I need to hear the water. So I go in the bathroom, I turn the water on. I think he did that just to make sure I was awake. And then he says, Valencia, I found a way for you to be free. And I said, what? He says, write down this address. And I said, okay. I wrote it down. And he says, I need you to go to that meeting tomorrow night. And I promise you, we're getting ready to get rich. And that is what landed me in this industry. I went to that meeting, and it's interesting how the mind works, because I had no idea what I was going to see. But because of his excitement and enthusiasm, I then called my sister. And I said, I don't know what we're going to do, but you got to go with me to this meeting. And my sister called my aunt. And so 4 of us ended up going to this meeting. All of us got excited. And that's how we ended up in the network marketing industry. And it's been an awesome ride. I love the industry because of the people. I said to Rick, there was a point in my career where I left the industry and I started doing some other things, but I just missed. I love people. I love relationships. I love travel. And, you didn't get that in corporate America. So when some people say I get involved just for the money, this industry is so much more than the money. And Krystal, you used the word, or Rick, one of you used the word transformation. I think that's what this industry is about, transforming in whatever way you need. For me, the idea of getting 6 hours of my life back, that is transformative. And so, that's how I ended up here, Rick. And I don't know if you want me to tell, how I ended up in Noni, but that's how I ended up in the network marketing industry.
You know what? What a great story. Everybody comes to this industry with their own story and through different pathways. And, Krystal, this was her first opportunity. You know what I love about this? I love this, what you said, a couple of things. First of all, one, somebody said to you, I've got a way for you to get your freedom back. Number 2, you were willing to listen. Number 3, you called a few people, not knowing a single thing, just said, come and join me. It's something we got to do. People sometimes overthink it and think, oh, I got to know everything. I got to know this. I got to know that. And sometimes it's just the raw enthusiasm will get somebody to hear it and it will resonate with them. I love that.
Truthfully, had he told me what it was, I probably would have never gone.
Right.
Because and it's not a matter of respect for him at that point. It was just a matter of, I didn't want to be involved in this industry. And really, why? Because I didn't know about it. It wasn't corporate. All I knew was corporate. And so often people make decisions based on what they think they know. I had no idea how much fun everybody was having. I had no idea there's another way to make money. Because again, my life was get a job. And that's all I knew.
So I know that your t-shirt does not stand for angry. And this just speaks
for.
It speaks a lot about who you are and what kind of leader you are. What does MADU team stand for?
Well, the name of our team is the MAD team. And I always tell people, it started off because we were mad. We were just mad at life. You're mad that you're not driving the car. You're doing everything that you're supposed to do to be successful, but you're not living the quote unquote successful life. And so you get mad about it. You're not in the house you want. You're not, doing the things you want to do. You're not traveling the way you want to. And so I said, and it really was, just, I don't want to call it a vision, whatever it was. I said, well, let's be mad enough to make a difference. And so the name of our team really stands for making a difference, but it could be make a decision. It could be make $1, whatever, but if you ever, talk to any member of our team, it's the making a difference team. And we just want to make a difference in people's lives.
And you are. Anybody I've talked to within your team, and I've talked to a few, and people in the company have such a respect for you and Art and your team because you are making a difference. And one of the things that I know is that when the company did not have the kind of tools that you felt like you needed to build, you went out and created them like any entrepreneur might do. and yet you were willing to share that with everybody else. And so we have something in RX, and most of the people that are on this call obviously came from the artists known as RX. They know about the Founders Club, and the Founders Club, one of the qualifications for being a member of the Founders Club is that kind of spirit of teamwork. And I congratulate you for that as well.
Yeah, I came into the industry and I had great mentors, and I've never been the type of person, first of all, and this is just a me thing, I hate the words upline and downline. I try not to use them. We're on a team. And I think that creates this atmosphere that, we're all equals. Everybody's trying to win in this industry. We're all the same. So where you fall in the hierarchy is just a place on the team. And I think that's important. I never had the mindset of I only work with just my people. I've never been, in fact, I've had people say to me, well, why would you do a meeting for that person? Because at the end of the day, one of my favorite quotes is rising tides float all boats. Mm-hmm. And so if the company rises and we're all in the same company, then we all win. And I've had people say to me, I don't understand that quote that you're always talking about. I said, well, think about it. If the water is rising, all the boats are going up. And so that's just the way I've always operated in this industry. I just like working with people because one hand washes the other, and one way or another, it all comes back. I'm in, I don't know how many of you guys in Texas know somebody in Brooklyn, New York, but just imagine the kind of synergies that can happen when you're willing to work with other people and you learn about different cultures, different ethnicities. I'm big on diversity. There's, you tend to attract who you are. And so that limits your market. But if you expand your reach, you can attract everybody. So, you may not be Vietnamese, but if there's someone out there in Vietnam and you develop a rapport, before you know it, you have a Vietnamese organization and you have people who will help you because you have that spirit about it.
Well, and you bring up another really good point is that we are truly in the United States a melting pot. And there's so many cultures and opportunities to bridge cultural divides and lines and everything else. And Vietnamese is a very good example of that. There are pockets throughout almost in every state of a American Vietnamese group that, and they're so family oriented that you get a few of those individuals that you become associated with and you develop a spirit of trust. And all of a sudden you find yourself in a Vietnamese American group that then takes you to Vietnam, and you have a Vietnamese group as well. And I've seen that over and over and over again. And it starts with just the desire to spread wings and to open up your doors and do what you've done. So that's a really, really, really great point. You were able to teach some things on the GBS, the Global Business Summit, that I just was really impressed with. Some of your viewpoints about being successful in this industry. And I don't want to, put you on the spot, but this call, and one of the things that I've been able to do is create an environment where we brought experts from around the industry on this call. So there have been top leaders from other companies. I've had owners of other companies. I've had authors and so on. Because I believe, just like you, rising waters will just create a positive environment for all of us. So what are some, as I bring that up, and I gave you a second to think about it while I vamped a little bit, but what are a couple of tips to success that you are in the tip of your mind? Like, I wish that somebody would have taught me this, maybe these few things that first month or so I was in the business.
Wow, I have so many. One is I'm really, really big on redefining words. There's so many words in the English language that we associate with pain. For instance, the word no. Everybody knows the word no in network marketing just knocks people out. But why? Why is it that we've given it a definition of pain? Early on in this industry, I spent some time with Tony Robbins, and I learned the power of neuro-linguistic programming, which is a whole training in and of itself, but it taught me to redefine the way I see things. So the word no simply means they don't know, K-N-O-W. So when someone says no, it means they don't have enough knowledge to say yes. So never take it personally. It's no for now, and it doesn't hurt. And I teach people, think of people who hear the word no regularly. You've all been to a restaurant. you've ordered French fries and the waitress will come and say, would you like any ketchup? And you say, no, she doesn't go behind the doors and cry. I don't know why she doesn't want ketchup. Or, somebody, you can think of so many things where people say no and it's okay, but we in this industry, we hear no. And what really I try to get people to see is don't take it personally. I've had so many people come to me and say, well, if you had done it, they would not have said no. Yes, they would have, because it's the same person. They just weren't ready for it. So the word no can be devastating if you don't redefine it. Another word that I think we have to redefine is this win-loss aspect of business. I win, which means somebody else had to lose. I mean, you think about, the election and everything is usually I won, so they lost. But in this industry, there truly is win-win scenarios. And that's unusual that I can win and you can win. And if we start thinking like that, we'll never go through those jealousy bouts or envious feelings. We'll just start to have a good feeling. If you win, I won. And it changed me, just those kinds of things in this industry. There's so many little things that I could think of. I had to get over my fear. People who know me today, and I think I may have said this to Rick, people who see me today, they say, oh, Valencia, you're an extrovert. And I tell them, no, I'm not. I'm an introvert doing extroverted things. I would never believe I would be on a public speaking circuit. People would say, oh, Valencia, you do it naturally. No, I don't. I've learned to do what's necessary to build my business. And so if you have a fear of talking to people, you have to ask yourself why. Like, that's what human beings do. We talk to people. I still have to go in rooms, get myself together. I still, sweat and do everything that's normal when people don't have such a high opinion of themselves. You have to go through those processes, but do it anyway. If you have an idea, go out there. You're not under, the one thing about being in network marketing, there's no lid. So you can do what needs to be done. You don't have to wait. You don't have to have fear. Now you want to go in the confines of your, training system and things like that. If you have a new idea, try it out. For me, with Krystal, and actually I think it was Krystal, I was on one call with Rick before, it was Whitney, and everybody was talking about their weight loss. I left y'all's call and I went back to my team and said, guys, we have to become billboards. We have product and everybody's out there trying to sell it, but nobody's telling their story of how it worked for them. And so you all inspired me. Now I'm practically beating my team up, go lose weight, because we have a product that works. But if everybody's not engaged in it, what difference does it make? People want to follow the successful person. If I was listening and heard Krystal, you said you lost 45 pounds since June. I had to sit there and calculate that. So share your story. The most important thing you have, and we all have a different one, is who you are and your story. I teach people on my team, if you've been in this industry for a long period of time, nobody knows your story, we're doing something wrong. This is really not an industry of how much money you made. It's an industry of what's your story, what brought you here. What are you doing while you're here? Where did you travel to? Why do you love it? That's why people follow this business. Very rarely is it because of this, because of the products. Everybody has great products. I think you guys have some of the best. I think ours is some of the best. But everybody says they have great products, but not everybody has your story. So those are my tips. Know your story, perfect your story, do things you don't think you can do. And the more you do it, the better you'll get. If you don't like people, get over it. And this is a people business. We just have to learn to love people.
I love that. Well, I'm going to switch gears just a little bit because I know that when you were in Utah, we talked a lot about the Tahitian noni juice, and you've got a whole group of people here who really do not know much about it. And I know you are a big fan for a lot of reasons, and it was part of your story early on as well. So teach us a little bit about the T&J and what it's meant to you.
Okay. Can I tell you guys a secret? And I don't want you to tell anybody. I got involved in this business and I did not know anything about Tahitian noni juice. I met somebody who, for me, it was financial. And this is important. That's my true story. I met a gentleman who was doing about $100,000 a month. And I thought to myself, well, If all he has to do is buy 4 things of juice, I'm in. Whether I drank, it didn't matter to me at that point. But I've learned the science. I spent countless hours with doctors and scientists, and I have so much respect for noni. And I'll give you my brief summation of what noni is all about. Noni is, first of all, it's a natural plant. It grows in Tahiti. It's rich in something called an iridoid. And iridoids are adaptogens. So they enter the body and they bring the body back to homeostasis, create a physiological normal. So the clinical trials, and it's hard for people to really grasp this, but the clinical trials demonstrate that noni does so much. It works with, one trial that I'll talk about was at Johns Hopkins Hospital. And it was 27,000 people. And it said that it helped people with allergies, arthritis, asthma, diabetes, digestion, heart health, high blood pressure, mental acuity, muscle building, all the way down to sexual enhancement. Now, when somebody hears that, they think, how can one product do all of that? But what it is those iridoids, they enter the body and they start to normalize stresses in the body. And there's so many books out there. It has a 2,000 to 4,000 year history. Initially, the product doesn't taste great, but it is an acquired taste. My young nieces and nephews, they love noni. They don't have an aversion to the taste. I think the older you get, the more your palate is polluted, and you tend not to want to use noni, or you don't like the taste. But my story, what gave me conviction and passion, was I had fibroids. And there's a lot of ladies on the line, but fibroids are those benign tumors in your uterus. And in this country, 600,000 women have hysterectomies. So the doctor says to me, you have innumerable fibroids, you need to have a hysterectomy. I'm thinking, I've never been in the hospital, not going to do it now. And I told him, no, that's okay, I'll be okay. That was in June, I was diagnosed. In October, I had become so ill and so anemic that he said, if you don't have fibroids, by the way, live and grow because of blood. But he said, if you don't have the surgery, you're going to die. My blood count had dropped to 6, which is transfusion level. And he said, you have to have the surgery. So I went into the hospital. I had an iron infusion because they couldn't do the surgery when my blood was that low. That was in October. 6 weeks, I was going to go. By the way, I had innumerable fibroids. And for the ladies on the line, my stomach was 22 centimeters. It looked like I was 5 months pregnant, and I wasn't. So that's not cute, if you guys know what I'm saying. So I went back to the doctor in December for my pre-operation MRI, and they could not find a single fibroid. So the only thing I was doing, and I did not even know, was drinking noni. Well, when I looked it up in the physician's desk reference, it says noni is anti-tumoral, and that made me a believer. And to show you the power of story, I started sharing the story, and everybody was saying to me, well, how much did you drink? I have the same situation. I have the same problem. I did a meeting in New Jersey, and this young girl was 27 years old. And when I finished talking, she was just bawling, she was crying. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, I'm 27, and she had never had children. She had just had a full hysterectomy. And it started to make me understand the power of my story. And then, I talked to so many different people. In my family, diabetes is a major issue. And noni has helped with insulin. So the product itself is just phenomenal. And then with COVID-19, they now, and you guys know, the FDA regulates everything we say. They let everybody take pharmaceutical drugs, and they have side effects of, liver disease and kidney disease and thoughts of suicide. But the FDA, I'm sorry, Rick? Mm-hmm.
And death.
Yeah. And nobody, the FDA is okay with that. Of course, that's the big pharma situation. But they just came back and said, we can say that noni will boost your immunity by 30%. Mm-hmm. So what does that? Everybody says, I'm taking elderberry, I'm taking zinc, I'm doing this. But we did a study, and on the science side of it, our immune system has 2 parts. We have an innate immune system, and then we have the adaptive immune system. I'm not going to go too deep, but the innate immune system operates on something called an NK cell. And you guys can Google this. But your NK cells are natural killer cells. It's a type of white blood cell. And here's what's interesting. When you drink noni, your NK cell activity is boosted by 30%. So what do NK cells do? They prevent your body from hosting viruses. So they literally block viruses from living inside of you. Now, for me, that's like going to war with 30% more ammunition in your gun against COVID. And so I've had tons of success just telling the truth that is what Noni does. It boosts your immune system. What else out there can you do? I mean, COVID is real. And based on all the science, chances of all of us being touched by it is real. The question is, what's it going to do when it comes my way? You know, some people die, some people go to hospital, some people it does nothing. I just want to give myself the fighting chance that what I believe when it comes my way, it just bounces off because I've boosted my immune system. And so right now, that is one of the things just causing our team to just grow tremendously.
And I love the way you language that, Valencia. It's because we can't promote that we cure or that our products cure or heal because it's just not responsible to do that. But if you can support your body's immune system naturally through the use of products, and we have a few that do that, but Noni is one of those interesting products. I worked for another company that had pure Noni, and you think sometimes the TNJ is a little rough. I mean, that pure Noni was dirty gym socks. It was so bad. And I like the TNJ because I've come from a company that had pure Noni, and this is like pleasant. This is like, it tastes great. A little bit chilled. I like it better. And it's a great product. And there's a reason why I asked Valencia this. I can't give you an exact date, but there will be a time in the next 30 days, more than likely, that all of us in the RX network will have an opportunity to have that product. And so I wanted Valencia to share that because this is somebody who's been living and breathing and using this fantastic product. This company has the most loyal consumers with this product because it is a product that works. We have a number of great products, like she said, and I appreciate that, Valencia, because you know I've never been one that says this is the best product ever made, because the minute you do that, somebody's going to come up with a product undoubtedly that's a little bit better or just as good, and then you're backed into a corner. But I love the way you language that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I'll tell you guys, you know, as you know, in this industry, people move around. I've been in the same company for 14 years. That is 2 lifetimes in network marketing. But I have, you know, I've maintained I'm like Rick. If you leave and go to another company, I don't hate you. I maintain the relationship. And one of the girls who was a leader in business with me called me up the other day. She says, we have a problem. And I said, what's the problem? She says, my grandson will only drink Noni. And she says, and I sell this other product. And I said, no, you have to drink this. And he's like, no, I want Noni. And then I found out from her that she is buying Noni from one of, you know, the representatives. She's buying 4 bottles of Noni, and she is literally selling it to other people, even though she's in another company. And so I asked her, I said, well, how many of you guys are drinking Noni? She said, all of us. We've never canceled our subscription, even though they're doing another company. So to me, that's powerful that people really like the product. And again, timing. Nobody asked for this platform. You guys sell health products too. Nobody asked for a pandemic. But if there was ever a perfect storm, people are losing jobs, people need to protect their health, we're all they have. We're giving them a chance to make money, and we're giving them a chance to improve their health. So the convergence of everything that's happening right now, we are in the right place at the right time. And now we need to ride this wave to create whatever it is that we're after in our own lives.
What a way to close us out too, Valencia. Thank you so much for being on the call tonight. And I knew everybody would fall in love with you, which they have, because I have. And you're just, you know, you're just this package of everything. You know, this sweetness, this boldness, this beauty. You know, it's just
aren't you? See, that's why I love Rick. I can't even tell you guys. I'm looking at your faces. I just can't wait till we really all get a chance to come together. I do think that there is, I mean, and we can just be open and honest. There's going to be cultural differences, but I think that's what gives us all flavor. You know, I've probably been to Texas 2 or 3 times. you guys, I don't know how many of you, come over to the Northeast, but I think it'll be a nice mix. I really wanted to come to you guys' event down in Dallas. I didn't get an opportunity to, but I'm really looking forward to working with everybody. I'm probably, Krystal, I already looked you up on Instagram, didn't find you, but anybody that wants to follow me, I'll follow you back. It's V and then my last name. You can see it on the screen. And we can start communicating. I love hearing your stories about Slenderize. I'm excited about incorporating it into our weight loss product, which is intermittent fasting. And I think we're going to have a lot of synergies along those lines. So it's going to, as I said, it's going to be one big happy family.
Amen. And you know what, that's what makes kind of and I'm using the term RX, but because this is mostly where our heritage is, but the RX culture has been always one of inclusion. And as we've partnered with other companies, whether it was a partnership or a acquisition or merger, never mattered. It was all that we're coming together under this one house, this beautiful home where, to me, it's all about like a fertile garden. If you have a fertile soil, a big garden with fertile soil where any kind of plant can be planted, then you've got the beauty of flowers and the amazingness of trees and bushes and all variety of colors of flowers and varieties of flowers and petunias and roses and, all of the above. And I believe that that's what culture we're creating together with New Age. And I'll just say New Age because it is kind of all of us together coming at this point. We're not sure exactly what all the colors in the garden are going to look like, but I'm very sure of the fertile nature of that garden. And I know that what we're going to create is special. So I echo what Valencia said. Let's all come together. Let's make this magnificent. Let's be extraordinary, which I know that we're not all extraordinary people. I'm certainly not. I'm just an ordinary person that loves to do extraordinary things. And that's what this is really all about. So Valencia, again, thank you so much. Krystal, thank you for starting us off and sharing your testimonial. I knew you were taller before, on Zooms, but when I met you in Texas, I'm like, holy cow, I'm a short person. And I've always known that, but thank you for making me feel even shorter. But I really love the way this call developed as all calls take on their own energy. And we have an opportunity to contribute to that energy in all calls that we're on. And so I invite you all to do that, no matter whether you're a participant or not, whether you're a speaker or not, bring that energy and help define the energy of that call. So again, thank you. I'm going to stop the recording. I will unmute the line so you can express your appreciation. Thanks again.